It is another Light News Radio. Self-empowerment for the whole human being. The place where sick and tired is no longer of oneself. Featuring your host, Dr. Richard Jelisich, and co-host Deirdre Layton. Together, they finish each other's sentences, laugh, and take you from feeling hopeless to overjoyed to rock your world. And now, here are your hosts, Dr. J and Deirdre.
Welcome, fellow light travelers, to Light News Radio, Realms of Self-Empowerment. We have a great show for you today, bringing you talented and awakened people who are walking their spiritual talk. I am Richard Jelisich, DJ, or Dr. J, your host, and my Empress of Entrepreneurial Empowerment and Eloquent Evolution, co-host, is Deirdre Layton. Together, we bring you grounded spirituality, where the spiritual rubber hits the road. Pertinent teachings and real-life applications that result in a grounded spirituality. Here you will find an island of inner teachings, a place where you can take in the fresh air of increasing your direct inner connection. We are all about helping you to empower your life through understanding your true spiritual nature. The whole human being is the integration of the mind, body, and spirit, and that's what we're all about. So come aboard our beam of light and enlighten your load as we travel the waves of knowledge and wisdom for the next hour. Deirdre, how are you today?
Well, DJ, I'm doing really well. How did you get the nickname DJ?
Oh, I just keep getting these accolades added to my resume, so I might as well use it, right?
Yeah. Well, hey, I like that. I'm gonna use that next time we're together. I'm gonna go, hey, DJ, how you doing?
Director of Juice, Dr. J, you bet.
Yeah, I like it. Well, I'm doing great. I'm been out playing around in my garden the last couple of days when it's not raining. And my husband thinks I'm nuts because yesterday when I came in from playing in the garden, it was just so wet and my shoes and everything was sticking and whatnot. So I decided I'm just going in there in bare feet. I'm going to really get grounded in the garden.
Very brave for a Canadian. Did you hit the permafrost?
No, I did not hit the permafrost. But when I came in, I went, oh, I can't walk through the house when I looked at my feet. So needless to say, we've had a lot of rain here in Calgary. Things are growing very, very well, but it's also quite muddy when you decide to start, messing around in dirt. So,
well, we truly have a global program. I'm in San Diego usually, but right now I'm visiting 4 of my wonderful grandkids in Omaha, Nebraska, the middle of the U.S., and Deirdre's home is in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and our amazing producer Nesha is in Serbia, all coming to you live. So you see, we got this planet covered.
Yeah, we do. And I think we do it very well. And before we even go any further, I just want to say to our listeners, today I decided, okay, we're kind of playing around with our Facebook page, which is Light News on Facebook. And I did this little video this morning announcing our show, saying, come and listen to us. But I've been trying really hard, listeners, to get you guys' attention because we have these shows so that we can help you. So please call in if you want to. We do have a call-in number, which is toll-free, and it's 1-248-629-0921. And remember, no question is silly. We will answer any questions, even if you've burnt your brownies in the oven and you're looking for some spiritual guidance. We'll find a way to answer that for you.
Burnt brownies are us, for sure. And remember, brownies. You can also go to chat line, also on boldradiostation.com. And for our amazing website is lightnews.org, Lightnews, lightnews.org. It has a cornucopia of cosmic continuity and information.
Wow, vocabulary. That's very cool.
Yeah, I've been sewing a couple syllables together here and there.
Yeah. So we are live. If you go to Spreaker.com/user/boldradiostation, there's a little comment box there, and you are welcome to chat with us live and type your questions in. Or, of course, you can always give us a shout and on call-in. So
Right.
there
And
you
these shows
go.
are also recorded for you. So if you missed today's program, you can always download it and or listen to it on Spreaker.com. Is that correct, Dee?
Yes, and
Like
right off
speaker
our
with an R?
website. You
Right
can
off our
listen to
website.
it right off our website. I've got the little app that puts all our wonderful shows right there, and so you can listen to them. And it's interesting because I had a phone call this morning from someone in Vermilion, Alberta, and they were saying, sometimes it's really hard for them to catch the show in the middle of the afternoon, and they love it that they can go and listen to our shows at any time. And so that's kind of cool, that people out there are listening, and I hope that we're
with
helping.
with voices like ours, who would want to miss a single program? I mean, really, I mean, just think about it. You can wax eloquently humorous, and I can wax syllabically conductively. Well, maybe not clearly, but the whole premise of Light News Radio, when Deirdre and I decided to take this on, which by the way is 4 times a month now instead of 2, we thought, okay, what are we all about? We are about grounded spirituality. And the problem is most people only have a vague idea of what spirituality is. When they think about that, they think, tarot cards, candles, incense, beads. But there's so much more to that. It's like awakening from a dream and seeing the Technicolor world for the way it really is. And Deirdre and I have got so excited about it that we thought, okay, well, let's bring on talented people who really are awakened spiritually, and they will explain to you what awakened spiritually actually means by their very actions. So we love that term, walking your talk, don't we, Dee?
We do, and it's a lot of fun because I have learned so much with the various people that we've had that have come on the show.
Yeah.
And, it allows us to share not only what we do, but it allows listeners to go, hey, you know what? There's so much more out there. We can tap into something else that's going to help us. And you know what? I think that it's great that our show today is called The Power of Showing Up, because it's important to, step up to the plate, to do what it is that you need to do, to empower yourself, to even ask for help and have others help empower you just by listening,
Yeah.
So
exactly.
there's so many different avenues and whatnot that people can take to awaken or to, really understand who they are. And so
by that same token, these people are giving you tools. It's not just we interview people like, what's your idea? So many people that really desire a more spiritually enriched life, they don't know exactly where to start or who to talk to or what to do. If somebody says, oh, Deirdre, you should just go meditate. And Deirdre would say, okay, fine. Well, what is that? Where do I get started? So you'll find that if you look at the litany of people that we've had on our program over 2 years now, that they're all about the tools that can help you to unlock your potential, meaning so many spiritual teachers talk about if you only would just realize the spiritual power that you have within yourself. Now, granted, a lot of people start thinking, okay, I can get what I want. Well, but that's not exactly how spirituality works. Spirituality is really more about wanting what you need than needing what you want. And so Deirdre and I spent a long time, both individually and working together for many years, to help people realize that what we're really doing is overcoming an illusion that we're separate, an illusion that we always have to live in a constant state of fear and that our politicians are telling us what's wrong. Not yours so much in Canada, but in the U.S., we have a lot of politicians always telling us what's wrong.
And you know what? It's so interesting that you say that because, here on Spreaker, lots of other hosts and whatnot have shows
Yeah.
under the Bold Radio station sign.
Yeah.
And the show that was just aired with our beautiful person who looks after, this, along with her friend Lynn, is Kimberdo Smith. And it was interesting because her show today was on fear. And so, we offer so much, and I feel that our connection with Spreaker and Bold Radio Station is meant to be and helps that way as well. So before we go on any further into the show, I just want to say, people, go ahead, reach out to us, of course, at info@lightnews.org, at our website, www.lightnews.org, and we are taking call-in. So it would be great if we could have someone call in and give our guest a really hard question or two. And that number is 1-248-629-0921. And so our show today is going to be on the power of showing up. And do you want to introduce Tyhson?
Well, sure. I had the opportunity to meet Tyhson years ago when Miguel Angel and I were taking people throughout the Yucatan and other countries in Central America to study the Maya. And just 2 weeks ago, I had the opportunity to actually stay with Tyhson at his place in Salmon Arm, British Columbia. Just gorgeous where he lived. Amazing. And, we were just talking about fear. And my reference is it's the invisible taskmaster. The invisible taskmaster. So when I went to visit Tyhson, he represents to me a person who has really looked at fear from the point of view as the illusion for what it is. But it's so compelling. So I'm going to read you a little bit of his bio, not just off the cuff, because I really want you to read from his words. But he really is what is called a master inner game mentor, a shaman, a coach, an author, and lecturer. And he has discovered that 95% of your business and your welfare success depends on you mastering the inner game of life. Doesn't that sound about right, everybody? His wellness team helps clients discover and deliver their gifts to the world by showing up, the power of showing up, being authentic, and getting out of their own way to consistently win at the game of life. From numerous healing modalities, he has crafted a unique set of personal to global wellness keys to unlock each person's magnificence by discovering their life's purpose. The process includes one-to-one intuitive mentoring, which is great, sound healing to set your soul song free, group coaching, masterminding, plus travel to do and to conduct earth healings, visit sacred sites, ceremony, and so forth. The overarching goal is to learn why you're here and how to deliver your passion to the world. He also has his own show. He is the host of the Wellness Show on Health, Wealth, and Enlightenment, and we'll give you those links in a little bit. We'll repeat them for you, so you got them.
And you're going to be on that show.
I will be, yes. And it's released every Monday and Wednesday morning. On the show, he interviews wellness practitioners, coaches, innovators like me, and heart-centered entrepreneurs who have a passion to make us and the earth vibrantly healthy and wealthy. Of course, he encourages you to listen in and start your week with vim and vigor. And I will also tell you, I believe Tyhson to be a practicer, an expert in what is called geomancy. Geomancy literally means love of earth or love of earth energy. These are the tools where a person uses sacred geometry structures like pyramid structures, dodecahedron structures, sacred geometric structures that harness, conduct, and transmit earth energy for the purposes of healing the earth, but also for the purposes of attuning yourself to the natural cosmic rhythms and harmonies of our universe. I have experienced one of his amazing devices, and this show is way too short to go into depth, but let's just go ahead and bring Tyhson on. How are you, brother?
I'm fine, and thank you for the intro. It's exciting to be on this show with other wizards of the world and bring our paths into everybody's reality. So thank you for the invitation.
Oh, you're most welcome.
We are so pleased. And, listeners, it's also interesting because Tyhson and I had last seen each other in the Yucatan. In fact, that's the only time we ever saw each other was when he and his wonderful wife, Sarah, would come down on these spiritual journeys to study the Maya cosmology. And he says, you should really come up to Salmon Arms sometime in British Columbia. And I said, boy, I sure want to. So I had an opportunity a couple of weeks ago to go to a wonderful place called the Tree of Life in Blind Bay on the Shuswap Lake series. And it turns out it's exactly 22 minutes away from where Tyhson lives. So I had the opportunity to stay with him and his lovely wife. And it was just wonderful to be able to visit. And it's just one of those synchronistic mechanisms that happens in the universe where if we surrender to one thing, you never know what else is going to interlock with it, which was the ability to sit and share for a couple days with Tyhson. And then, of course, things evolved from there. So, Tyhson, I want to start off with a question so that our listeners can really get a feel for you. What did you mean about being a master inner game mentor?
Well, discovering that really 95% of what's in the way is yourself is really, for me was as a coach and an entrepreneur, really quite upsetting. I don't know about other people, but
Yeah.
I've always been, after the latest tool. And I know, Richard, you relate to the latest glitzy tool, particularly if it has anything to do with sound and light. You just love them. Well, mine tools have been, how to do Facebook or how to do webinars or how to do whatever, the latest glitzy tool, and also the latest coaching methodology. And I have to say, I spend a lot of money on all that to really come to terms with the fact that, hey, this is an inside job. And unless I feel good about who I am and I show up, guess what? Nothing's going to happen. It doesn't matter how many glitzy tools I have or how many things I know how to do or how many wizard wands I have. If I don't believe in myself and get out of my own way, then 95% of the problem is not being dealt with.
Mm-hmm.
I totally agree with you, and I believe that society right now is looking for the quick fix, and so people are running out there, and please do not take this wrong, listeners, but they're running out there to take weekend workshops, feeling that they're going to get all the information right then and right now, and it just doesn't work that way. There's a lot of inner work that people have to do. Just to understand who they are so that they can share with others.
Yeah. Well, it's really true because we have this inner software program running behind the scenes. And sometimes in order to change that software is not a one-night thing. It's an evolutionary practice. It's kind of like going to the gym. You can lift the weights one day, but that doesn't mean you're going to have those defined muscles as if you were going to the gym, let's say 5 times a week for 10 months. And so a lot of times what Deirdre and I have found over 2 years of interviews is that these people that have walked their talk have been doing so consistently with fervor. That means they were dedicated. They weren't just going for the weekend saying, yeah, I went to that seminar. Now I'm evolved and I'm done. And it really is work. It's joyful work. Don't get me wrong. It's joyful work, but it's work. Wouldn't you agree, Tyhson?
Well, I would like to change the terminology. If you show up and you are authentic, then it's a lot of play. And if it isn't fun, you shouldn't be doing it. Now, I'm really talking to myself because I forget that all the time. Here it is, summer. It's beautiful in the Shuswap. Where I live is called Paradise Point. So I get to say I live in paradise, and it has the most beautiful lake, as Richard, Shuswap Lake. And guess what?
Incredible.
I haven't been swimming yet. I haven't even gone swimming yet. So
I have a dumb question, though. You told me that lake series is one continuous lake, goes in the valleys of different mountains. It has 1,000 kilometers of shoreline. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. It's a big, huge, massive H in the landscape. So if you think of Yod Hey Vav Hey, it's the H in the landscape. It is a magnificent lake.
So anybody can go into the water, though. It's one of those things where you could walk down from your house and go straight into the water, right?
I could walk down from my house and in 5 minutes be in the water.
Oh man,
so the point is, if I'm too busy in what I think I need to do, which is sit in front of a computer and do all these
Yeah.
things,
Hmm.
and don't go for a swim and have fun, then I'm in my own way.
Hmm.
Aha.
So
That's so true. Me
Do I
yesterday.
do I hear a commitment coming up, Dee?
Well, it is.
yeah,
It's
you
so
do.
true.
That he's going to get his, what, into the water?
Oh, well, there we go.
Yeah,
That's get in,
and
jump
it's the
in.
yeah, and yeah, jump in, feet first. So that goes back to the whole thing about, yeah, it is work, but let's have fun in the process. So,
Mm.
Yeah.
for me, I have to walk, or I felt that I've had to walk, or for my own health, I walk every other day. And some days when it's raining and I get up in the morning, I have a million excuses why not to go for that walk, but I just do it. So, is that work? Probably, but is it fun when I get out there and I get to see the deer in the morning and the coyote on the road and the osprey in the sky?
And
Well,
jump in the
it's fun.
puddles. And you
jump
jump in
into
the puddles.
puddles.
Yeah.
Exactly. And like you with the dirty feet in the garden, what's more blissful than that?
Nothing really, because that's getting in nature and feeling the mud between your toes. That's
Exactly.
but that's what we're talking about, is how do you get from talking to someone, oh, spirituality is where it's at, you really need to develop yourself. How do you get from a concept to toes in the mud, getting in the water, walking on the path? How do you get from one to the other? What do you tell the average person?
Well, I tell the average person just to basically show up. And this is not rocket science. When you show up and get over yourself and you're courageous enough to do that, then guess what? Magic happens. It truly does. I've seen it happen in my living room here where somebody says, "Hey, Tyson, I finally got the message. I'm showing up and I'm bringing my friends and I'm renting your cottage and I'm arriving next week." And I say, "Sure, okay, fine." And then they say, "And by the way, I'm bringing somebody over to do access bars because I want to learn how to do that too." And so then we end up with a whole group of people in my living room. And for 21 days, we're doing masterminding and group clearing. And guess what? Magic starts to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that simple. This is not something that we have to figure out. This is not something that we have to do A, B, C, D, and E, F, and G and lay it all out. This is something, when you decide to show up, literally magic happens. And I've seen it over and over and over again. So that's pretty exciting when you think about it.
Well, it is, but
it's
easy to say, because there's a lot of people out there though who will say, "Okay, Tyson, I'm ready to show up. Please send me the PDF manual so I can study the manual. I can know how to, so the manual can show me how to take it easy and keep it simple." I'm telling you, this is how a lot of people.
Yeah, they do. So what I would say is, why don't you join me online and we'll have a session together. And we'll do a sound session. And the beauty of a sound session, for example, is that your brain can't process it. It can't go there. It can't analyze the sound. So if I record your voice after I take you on a guided meditation and then play you back that sound through scalar wave technology, then you have no choice but to attain to the highest vibration of who you be. So now your brain has to get out of the way. It has to shut down. And that magic you, that light being, that one that's clouded over by all these things that you feel you need to do, comes through, and you get to remember who you are. And that's another way of being able to show up.
And a few of those sentences you started out with sound recording, vibrations, and scalar wave technology is about 2 or 3 more interviews with you, Tyson.
Oh, yeah. I believe so.
Well, it's pretty simple. It's pretty simple. It's goes like this. The dominant energy always wins, good, bad, or ugly. So are you the dominant energy wherever you are, with every thought, word, deed, and action? Are you the one that's putting out the energy that dominates in a positive way, where everything else then rises to that vibration? Or are you lowering yourself to match somebody else's vibration? in the room or in your reality.
I think
That's
they're going to need
showing
to.
up.
I think they're going to need to talk to you, because when I read, what do you mean by just showing up? I get, hello, here I am. I am just now showing up. I am in this place. I am totally here within myself in this
But
place.
it's
I have no clue what is going to happen, but I am here.
well, and
Well,
it's
that.
I think
But the first thing. But the first thing that's so great is you don't have a clue, so now we can work together. Is if
yes.
you do think you have a clue, if you do think you have a clue, then we have a problem because
Well,
your brain is in the way.
And this brings us back to previous shows that we've done, all about stepping into the sacred feminine and being vulnerable, allowing yourself to explore, discover, to embrace something new, to try something different. It's part of what I teach when I teach meditation. It's like, okay, so that's not working for you. Well, let's try this. Or you've tried that before, but have you tried it this way? It's about taking that step and opening up and allowing yourself to try something that you may never have ever tried before,
Mm-hmm.
and being vulnerable and open to it.
And that's a comfort zone thing.
It is a comfort.
When you're in a place where you're not in control, where you're in a place where you don't know what you're doing, the mind starts to construct all kinds of alternatives based on the desire to regain control.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, that was a pregnant moment for you to jump in and say, well, then, therefore, Dr. J, you just go in there and you just show up.
Well, therefore, Dr. J, best thing for a client who doesn't know, like I'm showing up, but are you really showing up, is to sign into my master program, which is My Divine Gifts. So what if you knew what your three primary divine gifts were? We all have seven chakras, 7 rays. What if you knew your 3 divine gifts? And what if you knew what it was like to be in the divine flow and letting those gifts, that energy, that divinity of you come through your divine gifts, and you deliver that to the world? And
it would be
now
amazing.
you know that that's why you're here. And then you know what it means when you're not here, like when you're in the way of those divine gifts, and what shows up as an aberration and gets you into lots of problems because it's a reoccurring pattern. So that would be the first step, is why am I here? What's flowing through me? What happens when I'm in the way of this divine flow? And then we'd start to use the processes like the sound and other techniques that we have to help get out of your own way, how to shut down the brain and allow your divinity to come through so that you can show up and deliver your divine gifts to the world. And that's what it's all about. We're all here with a soul purpose. And when you know what your soul purpose is and why you incarnated and what you're here to deliver, then you start to move through your life with passion. And when you have that passion to deliver, then you show up and you start to get out of your way. And guess what? Then you're in the divine flow and miracles start to happen. You're in the right place at the right time to meet the right people, and life becomes more full of fun than work and spirituality.
Right.
Yeah, it's interesting because, we do have that inner guidance that's on 24/7. We never close. And for many of us, we only have a vague awareness of what those spiritual divine gifts are. And it's interesting, too, because the inner guidance is on all the time, whether we're listening or not. It's always there. And this is one of the things Deirdre and I talk about, is tuning into something that you already have. In other words, most people don't realize that their inner guidance functions perfectly, but most people don't know, A, they have inner guidance that functions perfectly, B, how to connect with it, and C, to let go of what the expectation is of what it's going to look like as they connect and trust it.
Now, I'm going to interrupt, and I'm just going to throw this out there because, listeners, we are getting into some really deep conversations here, and I'm sure somebody possibly has a question out there. So if you want to call in, you can certainly call in and give us your questions. Our number is 1-248-629-0921. Or again, you can always go to the show on the Spreaker.com Bold Radio Station and type it in if you want to be not known.
Not. Oh, hey, wait a minute. You're supposed to show up.
That's right. Show up. That's right.
Showing
That's
up,
what
but I don't know you.
but I don't know you. It's funny because depending on people's backgrounds, depending on what they're going through, showing up can be like that. It would be like some people might feel like it's too stifling, or it's like being the hardest thing that they could ever do in their life.
Let's start
Absolutely.
over. Let's say somebody listens to a half hour of this program, which they just did, and they say, Tyson, I still don't know what you mean by the power of just showing up. Do I just go, here I am, I have no idea what I'm doing here? And I think one of the first tools you said was to start asking those questions, that you don't need to know why you showed up, but that you showed up, and to let go of preconceptions?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The first clue is that your brain, like you said, Dr. J, has endless stories to tell you, and most of them are big fat lies. So your brain is a nice tool, but it's not your guidance system, because it's going to tell you, oh, this is scary, or oh, you did this before and it didn't work. So that's not your inner compass. Your inner compass is in the stillness, like Deidre says, when you do the meditation where you let go and the mind takes its rightful place, which is in the background, and your intuition comes forward, and that's where you receive the guidance. And that becomes your moral compass as you rely on that. So what I'm teaching people how to do is receive guidance on demand. Like, how do you do that in a day-to-day situation? How do you show up? Well, basically, it's, the same techniques of learning how to do attunements or guidance, is to shut the rational mind down, give it something busy to do, like following the breath, like in and out, and calming the mind so that you can sink into theta and there be connected with source. And then you ask. And when you ask, guess what? You get the impression. And when you follow that impression, then you're now on the right path. And that, to me, is what showing up is all about. It's not, hey, I'm here and let's have a few beers.
And the first type of guidance you get, you say, surely it can't be that. Then you say, don't call me Shirley, because you get these impressions like you should be doing this. And the first thing the mind wants to do is edit the crap out of it, saying, that can't be true. Or financially is not feasible, or it doesn't make any sense.
That's right. That's right.
So you got to learn how to trust, which is, the whole aspect that you've heard over and over on the spiritual path is learning how to surrender. So what are you surrendering? You're surrendering your rational mind as it knowing everything that you need to know, and that it's going to tell you things that are worth doing. Well, it may or may not. But your moral inner compass, that part of your guidance system, your connection to source, knows what's perfectly right for you because it's connected to your divinity, to your divine gifts. And when you follow that and trust it, then your life is full of ease and grace, because you're now on the return path to the light. You're now allowing yourself to be guided. But it does take
but so many of us are so nervous about that, Tyson. So many people are so programmed that they're so scared they're going to step out of alignment, lose their way, lose their focus. It's not easy for people to let go of that type of control, because most of us are taught to desire guaranteed outcomes. So we live our lives like one person I heard many years ago say, riding the brake through life, riding the brake, afraid to totally let go and be in complete trust and realize that inner knower, the inner Christ, the inner Buddha, really does know what is the score and what is the best way.
Absolutely. And that's a great question. We do have a team, and we do use the technique of masterminding to help people bust through. So, if you're stuck and you're not getting anywhere and you can't get the mind chatter to quiet and down, then we just ask you to come on, and there's a group of us that have been working together for a long period of time, and we know how to use different tools like theta or access consciousness to help you break loose. And that's what I mean is when we help you do that, then you can learn how to show up and feel what it is, because like you say, those barriers that you've learned all the way from personal to global about how you need to fit in. If you do this or you do that, and if you don't, there's consequences. You have to get over that fear. This is not fitting in. This is for the first time in your life not fitting in. This is the first time in your life of showing up and you being authentic in following your guidance. That is not it's contrary to what you're taught in our society, which is
well, and that's what I was just going to say. That's what I was just going to say. You know, we are taught in society that you know, this is the way things have to be done. This is the way you do it. This is how you plan it. This is the flow.
Yeah.
This is blah,
Very
blah,
left
blah,
brain.
right?
Very left brain.
And so being aware enough to let that go. But then again, you know, it takes practice. I mean, people are going to walk away after doing a weekend or after having a session. I know that they do that with me in my private practice, you know, and then 2 weeks later they come back and they go, I wasn't able to do it. And I said, well, did you follow the steps, or did you try this? And you know, how will all of that work? And, you know, sometimes as soon as they walk out that door, you know, that roadblock, as you put it, comes right back up again. And they allow the monkey mind to come back in and play its role.
I think a certain measure of follow-up is needed. Like, I notice a lot of people go to Vipassana, silent meditation, or they go to a weekend workshop, but 10, 15 days after that, I think a lot of people, when they have some kind of intensive spiritual training or how-tos or the tools, that there should be some kind of follow-up. And I noticed that, Tyhson, you've been doing this work a long time, and I want Deirdre to give our listeners your contact information, but you know, how do you feel about follow-up when you start, like you have a thing here called whole body enlightenment, you know, do people come back to you for follow-up so that they can keep grooming and cultivating their spiritual awareness?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because you're absolutely right. You know, when you go and do Vipassana meditation for 14 days and you experience the silence, or what it means to be silent and to meditate in silence, and you find that stillness inside of you, you know, sometimes you come home, it may be, you know, it may be a month, it may be 2 months, it may be 3 months, where you can instantaneously go back to that state of being one, you know, in the flow. And then you lose it. You're back into the day-to-day. My job is to help you bust loose from that. And so, you know, that's why I'm a mentor and a coach, is that you phone me and I remind you who you are. And I give you some techniques to help you do that. And there's all sorts of ways that you can participate. So, for example, once a week, I have a teleclinic. You can come on to that. I think it's cost you all of $9 a month to come on. And when you're on the teleclinic call, we do the go around and we say, well, what was your week like? What's coming up for you? And we help each other break free to get back in the flow. And in that hour, you learn different techniques to apply for the next week.
And are you listening to, I was just going to say, are you listening to other people's stories then too to help you along that? Or is this a private one-on-one? Is it a group setting?
No, it's a group process. This is the teleclinic is a phone in like this, but it's on Skype so everybody can see each other, and we help each other move through whatever comes up. So I teach people different skills to be in their divinity on that during that call. So that's what that's all about.
This is a great time for me to say that you've got a couple of websites out there. One is the wellnessshow.ca. The other is mydivinegifts.com. And if they Google you, you come up everywhere. I know, because before we got your bio, I had Googled you. So you can Google Tyhson, and it's TyhsonBanighen, and you can find him on the web. You can also reach him. Can I give them your phone number, Tyhson?
Yeah, I'll give you the toll-free North American phone number. It's 1-866-369-7464 or 1-866-dowsing.
Oh, yes, that's something we haven't talked about on this show. Boy, oh boy, you're a man with many, many talents.
That is another show, to be
It
sure.
is another show, to be certain. So, oh, sorry, need a drink of water. I was just going to ask you that, when you're working with your people and working with your team, empowering people's lives, you're empowering yourself. And what do you find is the most popular or the most asked for tool?
It depends on the client. I always run through the toolbox with them and I say, well, we could get at it this way or that way or whatever, and I let them choose the tool.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example...
So in other words, you have many talents, from sound healing to shamanism to dowsing to direct intuitive assessments and so forth.
Yes.
Okay.
What was the example you were going to give, Tyhson?
Oh, I was like, I think one of the favorite ones for somebody that's stuck in their head is the sound one. The sound is extremely powerful because they end up with a 32-minute sound file that they listen to once a day, and their intention of where they want to be, the highest state of their consciousness after the guided meditation, is embodied in the sound file, and is also then goes into the scalar water using Dr. Emoto's technique. So now they're drinking 5 to 6 glasses of structured water. And so that intention goes down to the cellular level and it flushes the cells of the toxics. It puts that intention in at the DNA level. So now you have what it is that you want coming from the inside out through the water and from the sound from the outside in. So I love that one because it bypasses the rational mind. And a lot of people do choose that one. So that's one of the tools.
Every once in a while, Deirdre, we have a show, and I know you're nodding your head, where we have a guest on that we only scratch the surface of what it is they have to offer. And then after the show, Deirdre and I start talking about, well, what can we have him back? What part of that would you like to have him back and expand on this part or that part, Because, Tyhson, you really do have a multifaceted but very in-depth understanding of the metaphysics and spirituality of what we call the whole human being. So, our listeners are wise to go to your websites to connect with you. I always like to add that people, as Tyhson here, work remotely, that you don't have to go to Salmon Arm, British Columbia to be able to work with Tyhson. Am I correct?
Absolutely. I have clients from all over the world. However, saying that, I'd love to have people come here, like you, Richard, and, get an experience in the dodecahedron sound chamber, which is very, very powerful.
Which I
healed
did.
By the nature, which you did. And be healed by the nature of this place, to enjoy the medicine wheel, the landscape, the divas, the energy of the place. So we've really created a bit of a light station here where just by coming in, being in the vibrational frequency that we've created here just helps you heal. And it's like a wordless sutra. You just get it, full body experience. So that's another way of doing it is, yes, you can do it at a distance, but hey, it's lots of fun to come and play with us.
And I am scheduled to come back to your neck of the woods and do some programs in the not too distant future. We're working on that right now.
We are. We have you. We are working on you being there in October. So, yeah. So we're
very soon. It's come very soon.
We're working on it. We definitely are. With that being said, I would just like to read something that I pulled this morning before the show in my cards, and it's so funny because I believe that it happens to go with the show. Believe. Be open to all possibilities and opportunities. Let go of preconceived ideas. There is nothing to fear. You are constantly surrounded by love. Start to believe in yourself and trust your instincts. Wondrous possibilities and opportunities abound, provided you are flexible and remain in open heart and mind. Believe all is possible.
The
And
way
with
I
that,
like. I'm sorry, Dee.
I was just going to say, and with that, I want to thank Tyson for being on our show.
Yeah, the way I like to put it is inner focus, outer flexibility. You can be like a beautiful willow tree, strong and stout, but your leaves are flexible when the winds of change come. When the winds are gone, the leaves are right back there, stable and content. Inner focus, outer flexibility.
Yeah.
And please just show up.
And please just show up. Well, thank you, Tyson. And this show will be, it's being recorded right now because we are live. So all of my blips and bloops are there. And we will have it on our website as soon as it's done. So, Tyson, you're welcome to tune in, download, and use whatever way you wish. And thank you so much for being on our show today.
Well, before you leave us, Tyson, I have one more question.
Oh,
I know you said just show up, but if you had one thing to tell our listeners to help them empower their lives, what would it be? You've got the microphone right now. You've got lots of people listening now or downloading. What would you tell them?
Yeah, well, I would suggest the 3-breath technique. It's really so simple. So the next time you're stressed and can't remember who you are, or you're just over the top and you can't even remember your name, or you're going slightly crazy with what's happening with the kids or whatever, and just take yourself out of the fray and calm yourself down and take a deep breath. And why don't we do that right now? Take a deep breath and then just sigh on the exhale. And as you sigh on the exhale, just let go of all the stress, everything that's in your system. Just let it all go and sigh and exhale so everybody can hear. So I'll just do it right now. Ah. You make lots of noise. We don't care. And do another one. Right, and one more.
This doesn't here to giggle at all.
There you are. He's giggling.
I love giggling.
I guarantee that you're going to giggle or you're going to let go of wherever you were in your head and the mind chatter. And if you actually record before you do that on a scale of 0 to 10 how stressed you are, when you do the 3 breaths, you will find when you tune in that you'll be way down the scale, much closer to 0. So that's the 3-breath technique. There's no rocket science to it. It's just allowing yourself to breathe in the prana, the breath, the inspire, the breath of God, the mana, the divinity of who you are. And remember, just let go and be in that flow. Simple, but it works.
Oh, thank you so much. That was amazing. It really was.
And it is using the power of the will. And one point that Tyson said that I want to amplify, it's so easy, and that's why we miss it. Because we as human beings live in a rapid fire society where we feel things must be sophisticated, they have to be a multi-part manual, everything has become too many syllables and too over-sophisticated or too complicated. And really, Paramahansa Yogananda said it best when he said, one cannot be any closer to God than they are right now. You simply reveal that closeness that you already possess.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Well, Tyson, we so loved having you on the show, and we will look at having you back in the new year and pick up from where we've left off. I think that would be fabulous.
And how do we get a hold of
Can
you?
I end with a quote? Can I end with a quote?
Sure
yeah.
can.
Sure. Well, Bob Arundel says you don't need to go anywhere or do anything because you're already there.
Yeah.
So you
Which
are.
is very much
Yeah.
like what Richard said. It
Is
is
that-
really so simple that it's almost as close as the end of our nose, but really it isn't the end of our nose, it's inside
Right.
of us.
Right.
Yeah.
There's nothing to find because nothing's lost.
No.
That's right. And there's nowhere
So
to go
we
because
can-
we're already there.
We can reach you at thewellnessshow.ca and at mydivinegifts.com. You can also reach him
And at www.tysonbanighen.ca.
That's
Oh,
right.
okay.
So he's all over the place. This guy,
Yeah.
he's a mover and a shaker.
A
So
cosmic
thank you again,
marketer.
Tyson. Big hug to your wife, Sarah, and we will talk to you again soon.
All right. I love being on the show. Thank you ever so much for inviting me.
All right,
Oh,
Tyson.
you're very
thank you so
welcome.
much. Many blessings.
Richard,
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. It's been amazing again, and another show that we do live, and now is the time where, we have to shamelessly self-promote ourselves. Get tongue-tied.
Eloquently, too.
Yeah, eloquently. So, listeners, if you don't know, we are now 4 Wednesdays a month. So you can tune in. Our half-hour shows are the first and third Wednesday, and our full-hour shows are the second and fourth Wednesday. We bring you valuable information on both shows, whether it's the half-hour or the full hour. And, we're always looking for people who are interested in sharing their gifts, their talents, and they are using the power of showing up. So, we would love to have you come and be a part of our show if that is something that you would be interested in. Our next show will be, of course, August 3rd. We don't have a show next week. As it is next week. I think so. We had next.
No, you're
week
correct.
This month?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, next week is the first Wednesday in August, and I think, Dee, we might just have a show.
We do have a show. Well, that's what I was wondering. We do have a show, and we've
August
titled
3rd.
it Moon Effects because of the full moon being close by. And
Right.
then we have on the 10th of August, we have Tanya Steves coming, and our topic is Spiritual Supermom. So
That'll be a
I
good
think
show.
you're going to really enjoy that show as well. But I wanted to mention to our listeners that if you're ever wondering where our DJ is, I'm going to play that one.
I know. I think I just gave birth to a new moniker there.
If you ever want to know where our DJ is, July 29th through August 11th, he will be in San Diego, and he's open for private sessions, flower readings, past life, karma, reincarnation workshops. On August 12th through 15th, he is on holidays. Woohoo!
Yep.
I
in
am
Washington.
so excited that you are finally taking a holiday.
Yeah. And August 2nd through 4th, Dee, I forgot to tell you, August 2nd through 4th, I'll be in San Jose, California, and of course available for private sessions.
Okay.
So I'll be, yep.
All right. Well, I didn't have that, so that's
Yep.
great. And then you'll be back in San Diego after your holidays till the 24th. You have a couple of events coming up in San Diego.
Right.
You have a flower reading workshop in Chula Vista at a
Chula
place
Vista,
called,
right.
Yeah, a place called the Healthy Spirit. And that is on August 16th. And then on September 28th, we have booked you to do a workshop at the IBS. Am I saying that right?
It's IPSB, International Professional School of Body Work, which trains massage therapists and so forth. And they are located in the Kearney Mesa area of San Diego.
and you're going to be doing a Q&A night there,
Yeah.
talking about metaphysics, what it's all about. And so bring out those really hard questions for Richard and come and see him
Absolutely.
there. I think you'll really enjoy it. He's going to be in Calgary from the 9th of September to the 16th. And again, he's teaching here. So on the weekends that he's teaching, you are welcome to come out between 2 and 4 p.m. and have some free energy work done by his students. So do check our calendar of events at www.lightnews.org and see what's coming up. But our Sedona trip, we now have
yes.
we
Can't
have
wait for that.
one available space if anybody is interested. So you can give me a shout at info@lightnews.org, or you can call me at 877-242-5721 and find out about that. But it's going to be a great trip with only one spot left. And of course, you have another journey coming up in April where you'll be doing the Kundalini Yoga and the chakras in Costa Rica.
That's right. It's a repeat trip.
It is. So these annual trips that Richard are doing are very cool. And I think, listeners, that you would benefit if you're looking for something along those lines. So do go check it out. And of course, I know we didn't get any call-ins today, but I'm going to give that number just one more time in case, you can write it down for our show that we're having next time on the 3rd of August. And that number is 1 in front of it, 248-629-0921. And we are Light News Radio, Realms of Self-Empowerment.
Indeed we are. That's lightnews.org is our website, and you'll find that cornucopia there. There are the recorded shows on Bold Radio on the website. There is a calendar of events. There's information on one of my favorite things that I've been doing for almost 18 years, healer's training for the whole human being. If I had to boil it down to one thing, that would be it. I have almost 500 students and graduates in the U.S. and Canada. We are constantly starting new groups, especially in San Diego and Calgary, but I will start them elsewhere if there's enough interest. So please ask lots of questions. Go to the website, contact us, and let us know your most difficult questions, because those are the ones we have to deal with. We're in the age of accountability and responsibility, where we have to take that measure of responsibility for ourselves, for our own spiritual empowerment. On the plus side is all of the resources that are available to you today. What was the cost of this radio program to you, listener? Nothing but tuning in. But this is a manifestation of you as well as us, as that's how our spirits work. We create the method by which we can enlighten ourselves, and then we step into that fearlessly, lovingly, by just showing up.
So if you want to show up either the 2nd or the 4th Monday night in Calgary, if that's where you are, I am supervising free energy work, free energy balancing, or spiritual healing at the Family Matters in the Trans-Canada Mall. We start at 7 o'clock p.m. We run until we're through whoever's come and wanting a session. And it's lots of fun. You can ask me questions then. And, every so often you can find our DJ sitting there also helping
I may
out.
just show up. Well, we're going to be doing that in San Diego, too. We're going to be offering free energy work clinics twice a month. So watch the Light News website. Plus, you can sign up for our newsletter. I send a newsletter out 2 or 3 times a month with blogs and articles of interest. You can go to our website, lightnews.org, and sign up for our free e-newsletter. And we're very delighted to have you. We don't spam. We don't overdo. We know what it's like in this information age of overload. But we do have a message to share. You're a lot closer to a higher level of awareness than you think you are. And that's an incredibly loaded statement. And you can tell by talking to Deirdre, you can only have to know her for 2 seconds and realize that she too is the real deal, very authentic, very dedicated. So please give Deirdre a call, 877-242-5721, or our website, lightnews.org. And as always, listeners, we do this because we want to assist you in your own self-empowerment, your own self-realization, self-activation. Our job is to facilitate a blueprint you already possess, and that is what we sincerely desire to do. We care, we love you, and we honor you. So everybody, thank you for listening to Light News Radio, Realms of Self-Empowerment. And as always, may the principles of harmlessness and compassion be the ever-present, ever-constant guide of your every intention, your every thought, and your every action. And so it is, and so it shall be. It is done. Stay attuned, everyone.
Thank you for joining Light News Radio, where you are self-empowered for your whole being. Be sure to join us again in 2 weeks and connect with us at www.lightnews.org.